Woke up later than I wanted to. It's 8 o'clock, but gonna smoke a brisket today. Um, should only take around 8 or 9 hours. Hope to have it in by 9. I still gotta get my pit up to temp. Oh, the sun's right there. Still gotta get my PitMaker up to temp. Gotta turn it on a little bit. Should be good. It'll be fun today. Try to relax most of the day. I did a lot of work yesterday around the house, so I think this should be the only thing I got going on today. So listen to music, smoke a brisket, watch some TV. So the wood I'm going to be using today is, which I kind of like using this combination a lot when I'm smoking, especially smoking briskets. Didn't find this combination out, but by luck. Well, actually by accident. I didn't mean to buy mesquite. I meant to buy some pecan. I just wanted to blend some pecan in when I smoked. I usually use posted oak, and that's what I'm going to use today, posted oak. But it's my base smoke. I throw mesquite in there. I was pleasantly surprised the first time I used it because I just had happened to buy it. So I was like, well, I have it. I'm not gonna grill with it because takes a little longer. I grill with charcoal, just easier. Um, yeah. I like the flavor. If I did grill with it, it just takes longer to get it down to ready to smoke. To actually grill with. So I'm gonna use it for grilling. For smoking. So, and that's just bought it at HEB. And this pit doesn't really use a lot of wood. So these 2 bags cost like, I don't know, it's like $8 a piece. Last several smokes. And when I say several smokes, I got a lot of cooking area. Got 5 racks. These it's a lot of surface area. It's like this one grate will hold 2 large briskets or 3 decent sized briskets. When I say decent for me in the smoking world is around 10 pounds to 12 pounds. Those are really good sizes for smoking briskets. Any larger than that, they take longer. If you can get the brisket, especially if you got to do a big cook, a lot of you want to get this. Make sure your briskets are all around the same size so that they take around the same amount of time. Obviously, in this smoker, and I'd imagine in most smokers, offset smoker might be a little different. The heaters, like, you might need to put a couple of leaves inside to discover. It uses an inside thermometer, so I can see the inside temperature. I can place this in different areas so I can see the difference of temperature inside on each rack. Obviously, I got one thermometer in the front of my pit. Tells me what the general temperature is at this point, which is, you're going to be cooking on this grate, which would be this grate or this grate. That's fine, but if you have to use a lot, this is what I usually cook, so this is a really good indication of how hot it is. If I was to put this down here, the thermometer there kind of matches up a little lower than that one, but they're close enough to where it's going to be that's kind of the temperature it's going to be on that shelf. Well, I'm gonna start the fire. I start the fire with just charcoal, a little bit of charcoal. The little bit of charcoal is just to make sure that I have a fire heat source that doesn't go out at the very beginning. Put a couple of pieces I do not use in your smokers. Lighter fluid or any kind of lighting. Use a torch, or if you have to, use a chimenea. I have one when I grill. And if you have to use that and you don't have one, don't want to spray any kind of lighter fluids inside your smokers. That flavor can linger in the smokers. Don't do it. But I have a torch, so a propane torch. So I'll light this with a propane torch. Then once it's lit, I'll throw a couple of chunks of mesquite in there. I mean, a mesquite, and a couple of chunks. Well, one actually I'll just put one log because the logs aren't that large, but they're not too big either. So I'll just put one. Actually, I'll put two because these are not actually thick either. So I'll put two of oak, and get the fire going. I'll also use the propane torch, and I'll go over the. I'm not gonna. I don't have anybody help me videotape, so I'm not gonna be videotaping that portion of it. So for safety reasons, I don't want to do this videotaping and also warming up my inside chamber. This is a very well insulated PitMaker. Once it gets a temperature it holds, I could turn this fire off and then just close the door, and it would hold that temp for at least two hours. Right, start going down around after 2 hours, but that temp would go slowly down for several hours. So you actually, if it got hot enough and you were smoking something, you could probably smoke something without any fire in this thing, or a very minimal embered fire. It's just that good. That's why I don't use a lot of wood when I smoke in this thing. I got my propane going right now. Lighting half that charcoal for one reason. Once it's really lit, which I think it's pretty much lit now, turn it off. First chunk of wood on this side. That side right above, I'm going to put another chunk of wood on this side. This should not light for a while. This one's going to light up. The one on the left is going to light up. It's on fire. The one on the right is not going to light up right away, but the charcoal eventually is going to light up all the way across. When it does that, it'll light that second one. It'll kind of delay the lighting of that second log a little bit. All right. And that's about as much wood as I'm going to cook for hours. So, I mean, that's not a lot. It creates smoke, as you can see. Smoke starting to generate. So I just finished preheating the PitMaker. Still smoking back there. Fire's still going on the left side. You can see it from there. Just preheated it from the inside. Work torch all the way up through the grates. Disinfect everything I can. The entire surface of the inside minus the very bottom. The bottom gets really hot. So that's gonna boil over. Oh, I forgot to point out some things here. See how this is just steadily rising, going up, the temp. Okay, so I put two gigantic, those big pans you can get at the grocery stores at the bottom. My pit has a natural reservoir that you can put on the bottom underneath that grate, but it creates a lot of mess if you use it. So I rather use these aluminum trays. Throw those away after they get completely messy. The last cook was a very small cook I did, so usually use them twice. Need to put some water in there right now. Okay, just stop progress of this heating up because I opened it. So after you preheat it, just leave it closed, and it'll temp will go up a lot better. Okay, trying to get it to like 225, and that's the temp that I'm gonna be cooking with or smoking with. That's my propane and my propane torch. Thing lasts forever. Fire is going. I'm just gonna leave the door open for right now. It actually gets a lot more air circulation with the door open, so you can get the temperature higher. The more wood you put in there, using the door open, the higher you can get. You actually get higher when it closes. I just want to make sure the log lights, so there's less airflow once you close it. Make sure I got this opened all the way. Yes, I do. This is closed. This is for the chamber inside. If I ever rinse it out, the inside of the chamber. All right. That's good coals, charcoal burning. Guess I'm gonna actually close this off. It's already got up to 200, almost 225 degrees. Quick, my record. Thanks. So today I don't have anybody helping me film. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this. Doesn't look like it, I guess. I don't know, I guess the way it's spread, but it is 50% coarse ground black pepper and 50% kosher, large kosher salt. Just buy the Morton's kosher salt in a big box, and the coarse black pepper is from Kirkland, Costco. It's Kirkland brand, Costco. And this is the brisket. So right here is the brisket. I got myself in the shadow there. As you can see, it's got quite a bit of fat here. And it's just got other little trimmings. I'll just trim this out a little bit. I'll trim this out a little bit right here. Got this. Got some silverfish skin here. All this stuff's got to come off. This is the side we want to trim off pretty well. That doesn't really have to do like very great. This is the meaty side of the brisket. It's the flat on this side. See, this flat's actually pretty decent. It's not too thin. A lot of times you buy these packer briskets and they're really thin, like thin. They can go down to like this, and that's not what you want. That portion in a smoker for 8 hours is not gonna do very well. Those kind of briskets, you might just have to slice that piece off to get a little thicker on the end, so that you end up with something you can actually work with in a smoker. Just gonna flip this thing over. Okay, so this is the fat cap. The fat cap, we do some trimming. Usually the fat caps, some briskets I've gotten and they don't have a lot. The fat cap's not too thick, but for the most part, most briskets fat caps are pretty thick, and over an inch thick. We want maybe a quarter of an inch at the most. And fat cap up here, and when you put it in the smoker, this is going to go fat cap up, fat cap up. Sorry, I'm not doing too great as a cameraman. I come off focus a lot. Sorry about that. All of this is just not good. Gotta get rid of that. All right, I'll show you the finished product. I don't have anybody helping me film. They'd be doing it better if somebody else was just holding the camera and that's it. They'd be doing a lot better job than me. Okay, so as you can see, when you trim this thing, look at that. That big mound, that's trimmings. It's a lot. This was a piece on the point, the big fat end. I'm sorry, I didn't actually go over what the point was. Said what the flat was earlier. This is the flat, the thinner portion. This is where the lean cuts come in. Lean barbecue. As you get into further up, like halfway, starts mixing in with the flat and the point till you just get into the point. Point's really fatty. You can actually get away with trimming a lot more on the point. I tried to leave a good amount of fat on it still, but I actually wouldn't want to leave bald spots like that. But as it looked thicker than it actually was, so bald spots aren't bad. You don't see them. We're gonna season these away when this gets all black and crusty and juicy in the inside. Nobody sees any of this anyways. But you don't want things just flaking off. That's the thing. But this right here had a fat cap about this thick, so that's not what you want. Trim that off, and you can kind of tell how thick things are just by pushing down on it. See how this is soft? You get that consistency everywhere. It's like pretty much, this is a different kind of fat up here. It's a little harder. It's not as thick, but down here it's a lot easier to go by. So, okay. So here's the blended salt and pepper. what I did was stick my finger in there and just do this. Now, obviously make sure your finger is dry. This is the finger that I was just holding the knife with, so it's completely dry. And it blends perfectly. Blender finger. Okay, so got the brisket in there. Had this open for a little while because I was putting liquid water into the pans in the bottom. Inside temperature says almost around 200 degrees. You can see there. Brisket's in there. As you can see, it's just one brisket inside all this. It's kind of, didn't even put it all the way to the left side, so I still got plenty of room. Not plenty, but I got a lot of room in the back and a little bit of room in front. If you organize these, you can put 3 per rack, so you can make quite a bed. Temperature's down right now. Understandably, because I've had this open for a little while, but the insulation on these walls is really thick. There's actual insulation for heat inside these walls, all the way around, and it holds temperature so well. As you can see, the temperature's already going back up. It was at around a little under 200, and before I added any liquid into the into those trays, it was at around 200, a little under 250 degrees, which is higher than I want. I want it to be around 225. So now adding, with the door opened, adding liquid inside there and a brisket, that'll bring the core chamber temperature down. I'll check back on this in around 5 minutes, see where the temperature's at. So it's been a little over 5 minutes. Let's go check on the temperature of the pit. Five minutes since I had it open, the door open for a while, added water, put the brisket in. A little over 200 degrees, so good so far. Temperature will be going up. Serve it. All those ingredients add into the mix. I should probably go over here and open up the rest of this ball. Alright, it's been like 15 minutes after I put that stuff back in, and there we go. Where I wanted to be. Probably won't see me until I come out here and get it to around 180, 85 degrees. That's a good time when I like to wrap my briskets in butcher paper. Got some white butcher paper. I'll wrap it. See if somebody can hold the camera while I do that. And see you then. 11:16 right now. Temperature's still real good. Killing it. Won't open it. It's fine in there. Okay, I'll go ahead and open it. Let's take a quick look. Yeah. Yep. That usually does curl up like that. Don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. It's gonna turn out real nice. Shows actually 250 on the inside. Well then, let's try to get it down a little bit. It's a little hotter than I want it to be. Alright. Alright, time to check the temp on this thing. There she is. 200 degrees in here, 200, about around there. Okay, I got this upside down. I'll flip this around. Really hard. I can tell it's, really struggle to get that in there, which won't be the case later. It's gonna go in like butter. 161, nope. Still like 20 degrees away from where I want it to be. It'll temperature go back up pretty quick. Wasn't open for very long. What time is it? 1:18. So hopefully around 3ish will be around that time. Your brisket typically goes through something that's called a stall. That's what everybody calls it. It's a stall, and it really is. It's kind of like a stall. it can stay. You can have the temperature set at a certain. Well, let me go ahead and open this up. I gotta check the fire. Make sure the fire is still lit. These bad boys. Look at that. Just smoldering. That's all it was doing. Temperature was holding so perfectly. These PitMakers, man, they work so well. What I'm gonna need to do is put on top of this one. These are the ones that actually can light. There we go. I actually stuck in another piece of wood right there so that it would light really easy. This is actually a piece of mesquite. Get this out a little bit further. Let's start catching some air. Catch real good. Start flaming it a little bit. Okay, so what I was saying about the stall. The stall is something that's real. A big piece of meat, like this brisket, it will take, after a few hours, you're gonna leave it cook of this size, of this size meats. You could have a whole bunch of, starting to flame up now. You can have a whole bunch of briskets in there, and they're all gonna go to the same stall, all around the same time. Depending on, they could vary just a little bit, depending on how the meat makeup of each one. Some could be fattier, some could be leaner. But anyways, so you go ahead and handle the stall with patience. It's the only thing you do. Can't do anything about it. You don't want to try to force heat into this thing. Slow and slow. What's happening during this stall is all this connective tissue is starting to break down. Like connective tissue, briskets have a ton of connective tissue. If you were to try to take that meat apart, if you were to slice it and start slicing steaks out of this thing, it wouldn't be the greatest meat to cook with because it still needs to cook really slow because all that connective tissue, it'd cook, you'd be able to eat it in steaks, but you would, in the middle, you'd find all these things that are stopping the consistency of the meat. It would taste like parts of meats. Like you bite through it and then there's some kind of connective tissue and then there's another little layer of meat, and it's just not very good. But when you cook a brisket properly, the connective tissue completely falls apart, gelatins into the meat itself. You won't even know they're there. It's great. You got to do it right. Yeah, the fire's coming out really good. So like I said, the stall, patience, maintain your heat, and let time do its work. Heat plus time will break that connective tissue down, get you past that stall. Once all that connective tissue starts breaking down, the heat starts getting in there really well. When it starts breaking down inside, you know the heat's getting in there, permeates, and the connective tissue is broken down because it basically gets cooked and rendered away. So, just gonna let this burn for a little bit, make sure it stays lit, which it lit that quick by itself just by moving them around. I think we're good. Already back to 200 degrees. Picking back up. And this is not even going in there. The back of this pit actually has a, you know what? I'll do another video explaining my pit for everybody who's not familiar with PitMaker here in Houston, Texas. They make a great product. They're not cheap. Spent quite a bit of money on this thing. And for everyone who don't know, my favorite team. Weather's starting. I bought this probably around over 6 months ago, closer to a year ago. Magnet doesn't come off now. It's been there forever. It's kind of stuck on. But Houston, Texas, woo woo, my team. All right. Come back to you in a bit. Like I said, the time is 1:23 right now. 1:23. 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. I'll come back and check it around 3:30. It's around 2 hours from now. All right, bye. So I just wrapped these briskets. Checked the temperature just right now, around a couple of minutes ago, and they were at 178 degrees. I wanted to get 180, so went ahead and wrapped them because it is starting to sprinkle right now. So I just want to hurry up and get it done. As you might be able to see, I don't know, there's a lot of smoke. It's a little over 210 degrees right now. It's temperature's trying to come back up because I had it open to get it wrapped, and that is the wrapped product. It was a little over 200 degrees right before I opened it, but it's gonna get back up there. And time right now is 2:59 p.m. or 3 p.m. Hope to have them out by, I think it should be up there. Like my internal temperature that I'm looking for is, let me get out the sprinkles here because it is starting to sprinkle now. I'm looking for like 205, 203. 203 is fine. Anything up between 200 to 205, good. Like the pit boys, barbecue pit boys say, that's good. All right, it's 6:03. Thinking this is going to be done. Looking for 200 degrees, which is 199. I still gotta let it rest for a little while. That's perfect. It went in like butter. See, this is going in like nothing. I mean, I'm barely pushing on that. Perfect. It's gonna hit 200 degrees on there if I just leave it in there. But let's take it out. Gotta let it rest. Let it sit for around 45 minutes to an hour. I'll go watch a television show. When that's done, it's time to cut this.
Did you play this off the camera?
I'm busy, Mom.
Where's the dog that's play?
We're just gonna take pictures of it.
Alright. Brisket. Been resting for an hour. Yeah, not too much.
No potato salad for you. You've been bad.
He doesn't like potato salad.
Cornbread?
Alright, let's slice this thing up. It's the flat inner side, points on this side. As you can tell, brisket's dramatically a lot smaller than it was. It was a pretty decent sized brisket when I first started. Perfect. It's sliced like nothing. Oh, my wife made some cornbread. Came out really good. Really enjoyed it. Would you like to taste this?
And some mac and cheese.
And some mac and cheese.
And potato salad. Yeah, I like the end piece, the fat piece.
You say you don't like brisket.
Not a big fan. Shouldn't say that.
Really good. Pulls apart like nothing. Mmm. Really good flavor. The end piece got a lot of flavor on it because it's 100% flavoring.
You got cornbread?
There's one on your plate, Adrian.
I had to come.
This is juicy. Then check this out. Perfect. All that juice. Like I said, it's been resting for around an hour. Taste is perfect. I like it. Salt and pepper, 50% with a very generous sprinkle all over it.
Here's some bread.
Look at that. Really nice. All right. Go ahead and cut some fatty meat. Most people don't cut the brisket all at once. My family's not going to eat this whole thing, so got to put it away, slice it up. If you were serving this for a party or whatever, you know, obviously you wouldn't slice it until people wanted it, unless you didn't want to mess with serving it later. Just slice it all at once, put it in a tray. Dripping.
Move forward.
It's all rendered out. It's completely soft.
Move forward further. Pass and forth. Pass and forth.
That was good. It was about 5 minutes.
No, that's fine.
So we're gonna eat now. So check you guys later. Leave some comments at the bottom. Appreciate it.